Your dog has noticed every time you've come home, every single time, for years. But what happens when someone it loves comes home and then never does again? Elephants have been seen standing over the bones of a dead companion for hours. Chimpanzees have carried their dead infants for days, refusing to let go. And dogs have been documented lying on their owner's grave, refusing to leave. For a long time, scientists said this was instinct, just survival behavior. Then they looked closer, and what they found is harder to explain away. Animals don't just lose a companion. Something in their world goes quiet. Science is finally starting to understand what that silence actually means, and it's more familiar than you might expect. Let's start with the evidence, because there is a lot of it. In 2016, researchers studying elephants in Amboseli, Kenya, documented a matriarch standing over her dead calf for nearly 2 days. She kept touching the calf with her trunk, returning again and again. Other elephant family members came to the body too. They touched the bones, smelled them, stood quietly. This wasn't random grazing behavior. It was deliberate, repeated, purposeful. Cynthia Moss, the biologist who spent decades studying Amboseli's elephant families, described the gatherings as unmistakably grief-like. Now shift your focus to dogs. A 2022 study published in Scientific Reports surveyed over 400 dog owners who had lost a companion animal, while another dog was still in the home. 86% reported that the surviving dog showed clear behavioral changes: less playful, less active, eating less, sleeping more, searching the house, as if looking for someone. That's not a dog that forgot its companion. Now go further back on the evolutionary tree. Chimpanzees are our closest living relatives. We share roughly 98.7% of our DNA, and their grief behaviors are some of the most striking ever observed. Primatologist Jane Goodall documented chimpanzees at Gombe who became withdrawn, stopped eating, and sat alone for weeks after a companion died. One young chimp named Flint died just weeks after his mother Flo passed. Goodall believed grief played a direct role. These aren't isolated incidents. Across species, across continents, the pattern keeps appearing, and it begs the question: what is actually happening inside these animals? To understand what grief looks like in an animal's brain, you first need to understand what it looks like in yours. When you lose someone you love, your brain floods with cortisol, the stress hormone. Your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, stays activated, and your oxytocin system, as the bonding chemical, starts searching for a signal that never comes. That neurological ache is grief. Now here's the striking part. Dogs have the same neurological hardware. Gregory Burns, a neuroscientist at Emory University, trained dogs to lie still in fMRI brain scanners. The scanner revealed that dogs process emotional signals in a region called the caudate nucleus, the same reward center that lights up in human brains during love and attachment. When that attachment is severed, the signal goes dark. For a dog, the absence of a bonded companion isn't just loneliness, it's a neurological void. Now move to elephants, and the picture deepens. Elephants have one of the largest and most complex brains of any land animal. They have highly developed temporal lobes, the region linked to memory, emotion, and social bonds. When an elephant dies, the family doesn't just move on. The remaining herd shows measurably elevated cortisol levels, confirmed through field research analyzing their dung samples. Their bodies are in a state of physiological stress, the biology of grief. And chimpanzees bring something even more human-like to this story. Chimps display what researchers call post-mortem attendance. They stay with the body, they groom the body, they keep watch. In a landmark 2017 study in Scientific Reports, researchers documented chimpanzees at a sanctuary sitting with a dying elderly female named Pansy. As she died, the other chimps groomed her. They checked her breathing. After she died, they grew agitated. One as Pansy's own daughter slept away from the death site for the first time in years. That's not random behavior. That's an animal rearranging its world around an absence. And perhaps most remarkably, some animals appear to understand that death is permanent. Not all of them, but some. And that changes everything about how we think about what animals feel. Here's where it gets complicated. Just because animal grief looks like human grief doesn't mean it feels the same. And scientists are very careful about that distinction. Your dog almost certainly does not understand death the way you do. It doesn't have the abstract concept, the finality, the existential weight. What it has is something perhaps more raw. It knows something is missing. It knows the scent is gone. It knows the predictable presence, the warm body, the familiar breathing has disappeared. That might be grief without language, grief without narrative, grief as a felt experience, not a story the animal tells itself. And for elephants, the picture is more nuanced still. Elephants are known to revisit the remains of their dead, sometimes years later. They slow down at the bones of individuals they knew, but they don't slow down for the bones of strangers. That selectivity is significant. It suggests the elephant is recognizing an individual, a specific relationship, not just reacting to death in general. That's a level of social memory and emotional specificity that genuinely surprised researchers. There's another wrinkle worth holding on to. Grief-like behavior has now been documented in animals beyond mammals. Crows have been observed gathering silently around their dead in what researchers call funeral behavior. Dolphins have been documented carrying their dead calves at the surface for days. Even certain birds form what look like vigils. This suggests grief, or something functionally identical to grief, may be far more widespread in the animal kingdom than we ever assumed. Which means the real question isn't whether animals grieve, it's why grief evolved in the first place. And the leading theory is both practical and quietly profound. Grief may exist because deep bonds exist, and deep bonds exist because they helped animals, including us, survive. So the next time your dog searches a room it used to share with another pet, pause. It isn't confused. It's looking for someone it loves. And when you see an elephant pause over bones on the African savanna, bones it somehow knows, that pause is carrying something. Memory, recognition, loss. Science still can't tell us exactly what an elephant feels in that moment. We can't ask it, but we can watch what its body does. We can measure the cortisol. We can see the behavioral shift. We can observe the return to the bones year after year. And what that evidence keeps pointing toward is this: grief is the cost of love. And if animals pay that cost, if they carry that weight, feel that absence, return to that place, then they were loving something, really, truly loving something. And that, maybe, is all the proof we needed.